Mr. Lalit Shah from ID Nepal, Climate Resilience and Agriculture Lead.
Thank you, Rojina ji. Good morning and namaste, everybody. This is Lalit Shah, work for ID Nepal as a Climate Resilience and Agriculture Program lead over there since more than a decade. And by profession, I am the entomologist, and most of the time I spend my time mostly focusing on the IPM parts, more focusing on the invasive pest. And this is also one of the learning, great learning that I gain innovation from one of the former project, and that has been now a scale of now into the current one of the funded program in ID Nepal. And I think while talking about the ID Nepal, you all of you must have heard about that. This conference is also one of the sponsorship from the ID Nepal in collaboration with the NSAE and the ID Nepal along with the AgriPath project sponsored. And currently, the ID, while talking about the ID Nepal, it is one of the international organizations based at the Denver, Colorado, and also in the Canada. Our headquarters is over there. And since after the establishment in Nepal, in the ID Nepal has been established in Nepal since from 1992, and earlier to that, the ID Nepal work was more focusing on the smallholder farmers and also more focusing on the irrigation part. It was the initial program that has been initiated the program in Nepal. And this, I think, I'm not going in the detail what the ID has done in the past, but I would like to highlight the work that has been done and the best practices I want to share now. While talking about the impact journey, this shows the overall the impact journey of Nepal since after establishment, and from the Tedil pump innovation, their supply chain, up to the invasive pest management, and after the digital agriculture. I'm not going in the detail. And while talking about the ID Nepal programmatic strategic sector, ID Nepal believes on the RME model. It is one of the resilient market ecosystem model that that is more focusing to each of the program. While designing, we are more focusing our program on 8-4 model that must combine with the public and private sector as well, more focusing access to technology, access to finance, access to market, and access to information and knowledge. And more, this model facilitates the de-risking and creating the intensive for all the ecosystem player and to make it more prosperous community. And while talking about the one of the best practices, as we know, every year I think there is a chronic shortage of chemical fertilizer, and also there is a volatility of the price as well. And also everything, whatever the changing is occurred these days in Nepal, everything is blamed to be the climate change, and also the erratic rainfall and soil degradation is the major challenge, and majority of the more dependency on the agriculture inputs, and also there is a more local resources potentiality to utilize the local resources as well. And in this presentation, I am going to highlight one of the innovation, as the earlier presentation has already been defined by our the lead presenter. Innovation comes from the existing work that need to be improved or changed from the system as well. And in this presentation, I'm going to highlight one of the scaling of the TBC enterprises at the community level as one of the climate resilience practices, and I'm going to highlights on the best practices that has been impacted from the Prerna program, one of the, and as we know, Trichoderma is one of the beneficial fungus, and it is has been inoculated into the vermicompost to make it as a trichovermicompost, and that vermicompost enterprise has been led by the committee cooperatives, and this also acts as one of the resilience technology for the pathogen suppression, nutrition solubilizing, and also to tolerance on the abiotic stress as well. And while talking about this Prerna program, I am going to highlight some of the learnings that we got on scaling of the enterprise community level enterprise development, that we call it as promoting resilience and enterprise development through utilization of the local resources in Nepal. And this program was one of the funded by the BASE Foundation in Germany, and in ID was the Prime, and at the Kaski, it was being implemented in Kaski and Siangja, and in Kaski, Liber was one of our implementing field level implementing partner, and Arch Nepal was the implementing partner in the Siangja. In each of the districts, we took the 2 municipalities in Kaski and 2 municipalities in Siangja, and in each municipality, we have the feasibility assessment on selecting the only 2 minutes. Okay, sorry, and okay. I think almost 3 minutes is still there is time ongoing, and anyway. I'm not going into the detail, but these are some of the 2 districts that we have implemented from each of the cooperatives. Each of the districts we have selected 4 cooperatives in each district, and 4 in Kaski and 4 in Siangja. And altogether in each of the cooperatives we have the 50 entrepreneur farmers who produce the vermicompost on that, and altogether there were 432 entrepreneur farmers acts as entrepreneur farmers who produces the trichoderma, and from each of the cooperatives, they our model mostly in this program. These are some activities that we have supported from this program, and mostly our model as ID was for the smallholder farmers. In each of the cooperatives, we took the cooperatives as an enterprise model. On each of the cooperatives, there are 50 entrepreneur farmers, and on that we supported with the vermicompost production. After the production, some of the farmers they utilize in their own farm, and the remaining one they utilize through the cooperatives. And cooperative they act as an enterprise model, and they sell to the cooperatives, and under that everything logistic management is done by the cooperative as well. And mostly I think in this the market modality is to engage the private sector, where the cooperative directly sell through utilizing the CBF. We call it as a community business facilitator, as a last mile supply chain actor as well. And also we do have a series of discussion with the local agrovet input suppliers as well. And this data shows some of the production. This is the data from the last 1 year, four cycle of the TBC, and almost I have finished. And from all the 10 cooperatives, the total production was 679 metric ton as well. And we do also have validation from the central lab over here to test the CFE value for the trichoderma. And we see, if you see these some of the results, almost the live trichoderma is over there as well. And these are some of the marketing strategy that currently we are incorporating to the other project district as well. And from the field demonstration to the also we do have some of the efficacy test utilizing some of the graduate students as a part of action research on this TBC model as well. And these are some of the scaling beyond the project, and these are some of the key results that we found from this project as well. And from this sustainability model, we utilize the local government and also the evidence-based learning through the action research, and also the capacity and ownership through different IEC material as well. And I think in the conclusion, I think the results that we have got from the enterprise development must be scaled up, and also must be it has been scaled up through the other municipality as well. It must be or boosted. This technology must be boosted and strengthen the access, and also it must be utilizing the local private sector as well as a partnership model. And in the initial phase of implementation, these are some of the local palika that even the project is phased out. Some of the palika that have been deployed to scale up this technology as well. This is the story. I'm not going in the detail. And this is one of the story from the Kasky that it has been running sustainably as well. And in the last, I think one entrepreneur can change the community and millions can change the world. This is our tagline for this this. And if you do have any question or queries, please let me know. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Lalit sir, for highlighting the commendable work done by ID Nepal. Once again, we have two presentation left, so I'd like to remind, please be on time. You have 8 minutes, and please conclude your presentation within 8 minutes. So moving on, next we have Mr. Krishna Sharma, President of Nepal Agricultural Machinery Entrepreneurs Association, NAMIA.
Thank you, Rajina ji. Namaste and good evening to all. It's me, Krishna Sharma. I am the president of Nepal Agriculture Machinery Entrepreneur Association. We call it NAMIA. I would like to start this session. My topic is agriculture mechanization in Nepal and NAMIA background. This is the data of agriculture in Nepal. Around 52% engaged in population engaged in agriculture, and around 24% GDP. It's almost, this data is already performed by lead presenter before, so this is not a big issue. The mechanization is essential to increase the productivity, reduce drudgery, address land and terrain challenges, ensure food security and rural prosperity. Major challenges is permanent and small land holding, difficult topography in hill and mountains. These are the scenario of agriculture in Nepal. This is the slide of status of mechanization in Nepal. In Tarai, more than 95% farmer use tractors, especially for the soil preparation. We are above 95% we are using mechanization in Tarai, as well as tractor 80%, power tiller 50%, and attachment, rotavator, cultivator, tiller equipment, and on-rented customized. Hills is nearby 20% mechanization in Nepal. We are according to the last 3 physical years custom data, the mini tiller, small working tractors are massively using in hilly area and as well as Tarai for the intercultivation. The data is around 95,000, almost 35,000 tillers, small power weeder are importing every year as according to the custom of departments. Plant seeding. Rice is manually transplanted as now, mostly planting, seeding performed by women. Rice transplant are introduced in Tarai, but adoption rate is very low. Seed drills, wheat and maize is getting popular, but the figure is very, very less, especially in seeding and plantation, as well as soil preparation, like harvesting, threshing. It's a very good practices we have, as well as seeding and planting. We are very poor. We are just introducing seeding and plantation. Intercultivation, we are doing very good. Power weeder is very famous all over the Nepal. It's a very adopted technology. Plant protection spears are very common use now. Mulching plastic are using various cash crops, especially on vegetables. Mulching film is produced in Nepal. This is very it's my thankful. Mulching plastic is already have more than 5 manufacturers in Nepal. Harvesting technology, the combine harvester, the track type combine harvester is very good demand in now, as well as reapers and others. Combine harvester are very using very rapidly and very good demands. Brush cutter combine harvester are getting popular. More than 700 combine harvester are using in Nepal. More than around 3,000 reapers is using in Nepal. Threshing, the threshing is not a new technology for us because we are using threshing more than 3 decades. So threshing more than 90% we are mechanized. The 90% is data of the Tarai region, as well as the hill and mountains is very less. This data, straw management, straw baler, straw reaper, and using a few numbers because we have another big challenges by the government of Nepal. A combine harvester, this big combine harvester should purchase together with combine. We should bring straw baler, straw reaper together. This is the big challenges for us. This is the main headache for us also because all of areas doesn't require straw baler. Post-harvest combine milling machinery is using very rapidly in Nepal, especially small household combine mills is very popular. Grader cleaner is adopting by the cooperatives and big corporate houses for the gradings and cleaning. Greenhouse technology is the very good practices in Nepal since last 2 decades. Most of valley and city areas, nearby the city areas, there is a very huge number of greenhouse technology are adopted. This is the status of mechanization in Nepal. The machines using the power tiller, tractor, thresher, spear are getting very it's a good increasing as compared to 2021 to 2022. It's very huge adoption rate. This is the status of mechanization in Nepal. I have a very limited time, so I am going to sort out my presentation. This is the agricultural mechanization, institutional development of agricultural mechanization. These are the government data and government status. This is the Nepal Agricultural NAMIA established in 2015. We are the social and non-profit organizations. We have more than 450 members, retailers, wholesalers, manufacturers, distributors. Vision of NAMIA is promotion agriculture mechanization in Nepal through the sustainable approach. This is our vision. Mission is to be the leading catalyst of sustainable development and modernization in Nepal agriculture sector, fostering prosperity for the farmers and entrepreneurs alike through the agriculture mechanization. This is the objectives of NAMIA. It's the policy influence, market access and promotion, skill development is our main objectives. Industry advocacy, networking and collaboration, capacity building, promotion and innovation, quality assurance and standards, sustainable practices, consumer protection, and promotion of trade, promoting gender-friendly, gender equality and inclusive workplace. Affiliation, we are the member of FNCCI. We are the, our vice president is the board member of AEC. We are the technical committee member of Agriculture Modernization Promotion Policy 2024. We are the active member of RICAMA. This is the my executive members details. Sorry, I'll take just 2 minutes. Achievement and outcomes, market access and promotions. We did 6 agricultural mechanization exhibitions. 1 is international and 5 is national and 1 is provincial. in the last 1 decade, we did more than six exhibitions. This is some photos of the exhibitions. We are doing capacity buildings, enhancement, skill development training. We have already trained more than 120 technicians in last 4 to 5 years. We did collaborate with Nepal government and some NGO, some INGO, and some local government. These are the capacity building some photos. Sustainable practices. We did some resource and survey program with CIMIT. Networking and collaboration, we did some international and national some conferences. We did already RICAMA organized meetings and practices. Way forwards. This is the industry advocacy, promotion and innovation is the major two way forward. Sustainable practices, policy influences, consumer protections. We did some international MOU with similar association, exchange knowledge and association, collaborate research and development work. We have a quite plan of establishment Center of Excellence Agricultural Mechanization in Nepal. This is our main plan. Thank you. Sorry for the time. Thank you. Good evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Krishna sir, for highlighting the work NAMIA has been doing throughout the years. So for the last technical session of this segment, may I request Mr. Khosraj Kotwal, President of Association of Agricultural Technology Industry, ATI Nepal.
धन्यवाद, नमस्ते, गुड इभिनिङ। म खोजराज कटवाल, एसोसिएसन अफ एग्रिकल्चर टेक्नोलोजी इन्डस्ट्री नेपालको चेयरम्यान। आरटी नेपालको परिचय, एसोसिएसन अफ एग्रिकल्चर टेक्नोलोजी इन्डस्ट्री नेपाल 2080 सालमा स्थापना। यसको मूल उद्देश्य चाहिँ कृषि क्षेत्रमा आधुनिकीकरण, औद्योगिकरण, नवप्रवर्धन र व्यावसायीकरण गर्दै आयात प्रतिस्थापन र निर्यात प्रवर्धनमा काम गर्ने। मुख्य क्रियाकलापहरू कृषि प्रविधि, औजार उपकरण, मल, बिउ बिजन लगायतका सामग्रीहरूको स्वदेशमै उत्पादन तथा एसेम्बल गर्ने, उत्पादित सामग्रीहरूको स्वदेश तथा विदेशमा बजारीकरण गर्ने। आरटी नेपालको भूमिका कृषि उद्योग बीच एकीकृत आवाज र समन्वय स्थापना गर्ने, निजी क्षेत्र र सरकार बीचको पुलको काम गर्ने, अनुसन्धान, तालिम, प्रदर्शनी, अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय सहकार्य गर्ने, नेपाली प्रविधि उत्पादनलाई विश्व बजारमा प्रवर्धन गर्ने, जलवायुमोधी प्रविधिको प्रवर्धन गर्ने। प्रमुख कृषि आधारित उद्योगहरू, कृषि प्रविधि उद्योग जस्तै थोपा सिँचाइ, मल्चिङ लगायतका चाहिँ धेरै अरू चाहिँ उद्योगहरू चाहिँ नेपालमा स्थापित भइसकेका छन्। विभिन्न औजार सामग्रीहरूको कृषि सामग्री उद्योग, बिउ बिजन उद्योग, च्याउ खेती, च्याउको बिउ उत्पादन उद्योग, महका घारहरूदेखि लिएर मह उद्योगहरू, आरण उद्योग, अचार उद्योग, चिया कफी उद्योग, तरकारी तथा फलफुल खेती उत्पादन प्रशोधन उद्योग, पशुपक्षी तथा माछा पालन, डेरी उद्योग, गाजा अल्लो लगायतका कपडा, जुत्ता, मोजा उद्योग, अन्य। हाम्रो उद्देश्य कृषि सम्बन्धी नवीनतम नवप्रवर्धित स्वदेशी उद्योग स्थापना गर्दै यस प्रकारका कृषक उद्योगी व्यवसायलाई कृषि इन्जिनियरिङहरूसँग जोड्ने, मेड इन नेपाल र मेकिङ नेपाल टेक्नोलोजीलाई स्वदेशमै उत्पादन तथा एसेम्बल गर्ने, नेपाली श्रमसिपलाई व्यापक अवसर प्रदान गर्ने। जुन हामीले नेपाललाई जे चाहिने हो त्यो हामीले गर्न नसकेको, हामीले चाहिँ बढी आयातमा चाहिँ निर्भर गर्ने एउटा राज्यको पोलिसी भएको कारणले गर्दाखेरि यो अवसर चाहिँ हामीले चाहिँ गुमाइरहेको चाहिँ अवस्था चाहिँ छ। कृषिका सामग्री तथा वस्तुको उत्पादन वृद्धि गराई आयात प्रतिस्थापन र निर्यात प्रवर्धन गर्ने हाम्रो उद्देश्य रहेको छ। स्वदेशमै आविष्कार भएका विकसित मुलुकमा कृषि सम्बन्धी भएका नवीनतम प्रविधिलाई नेपाल भित्र्याउने, उक्त प्रविधिको आवश्यकता र प्रभावकारी देखिएमा स्वदेशमै उत्पादन गर्दै लैजाने, समय समयमा अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय आन्तरिक कृषि उद्योगहरूको भ्रमण गर्ने, समस्याहरूको पहिचान गरी समाधानको लागि सम्बन्धित क्षेत्रसँग पहल गर्ने, कृषि उद्यमी, जनप्रतिनिधि, राष्ट्र सेवा कर्मचारी, सरकारी तथा गैर सरकारी सङ्घ संस्थाहरूसँग सहकार्य गर्ने। वर्तमान अवस्था दक्ष प्राविधिक नहुँदा पनि कृषि उद्योग सञ्चालन गर्ने प्रशस्त प्रयत्न भइरहेको छ। बलियो पूर्वाधार नहुँदा पनि कृषि उद्योगको सुरुवात भएको छ। महँगो ब्याज दर, कच्चा पदार्थमा उच्च भन्सार दर तिरेर पनि स्वदेशमा कृषि उद्योगको सञ्चालनको प्रयास भएको छ। निजी क्षेत्रबाट कृषि उद्योगको सुरुवात भएसँगै छोटो समयमा मल्चिङ प्रविधि, ग्रो ब्याग, ग्रिन हाउस लगायतका धेरै लगभग आत्मनिर्भरको कन्डिसनमा चाहिँ पुगिसकेको छ। यो एउटा चाहिँ स्वदेशी उद्योगको स्थापना भएसँगै यसको चाहिँ राम्रो पक्ष लिन सकिन्छ। वैदेशिक रोजगारबाट आर्जित सिप र पुँजीलाई स्वदेश फर्की कृषि उद्योग स्थापना तथा सञ्चालनमा उपयोग गरिएको। हाम्रा नेपाली दाजुहरू विभिन्न देशमा गएर काम गर्नु भएको छ। त्यहाँ सिकेको सिपलाई चाहिँ नेपालमा ल्याएर, जो म आफै पनि 13 वर्ष वैदेशिक रोजगारमा काम गरेर फर्केर आएर अहिले यहाँ इन्डस्ट्री चलाइरहेको छु। म लगायत धेरै साथीहरूले गरिराख्नु भएको छ कृषि क्षेत्रमा। कृषि उद्योगका सम्भावनाहरू: अर्थतन्त्रको विकास, कृषि प्रविधिको तीव्र विकास, रोजगार सिर्जना, उद्यमशीलताको अवसर र वातावरण निर्माण, उचित औद्योगिक वातावरण निर्माण गर्दै कृषि औद्योगिक ऐन बनाउने। हामीलाई एकदमै जरुरी छ। कृषि औद्योगिक ऐन नभएको कारणले गर्दाखेरि हामीले बनाउने फेरि के अरे प्रोडक्टहरूमा कच्चा पदार्थमा बढी भन्सार र चाहिँ बाहिरबाट आउने चाहिँ अघि श्रीमत सरले पनि प्रेजेन्टेसनमा राख्नु भएको थियो, 40 देखि 50% कच्चा पदार्थमा भन्सार लाग्ने, 1% चाहिँ भन्सार छुट दिएर जुन राज्यले एउटा नीति लिएको छ, त्यो चाहिँ एउटा औद्योगिक ऐन बनाउन सक्यो भने चाहिँ त्यसले समेट्छ कि भन्ने चाहिँ हामीलाई लागेको छ। दक्ष प्राविधिकको उत्पादन गरी वैदेशिक रोजगारबाट दक्ष प्राविधिकलाई उचित प्रोत्साहन गराउने। कृषि उद्योगका चुनौतीहरू: तयारी वस्तुभन्दा कच्चा पदार्थको भन्सार दर महँगो। यो सायद संसारमा नेपालमा मात्रै हो कि अन्त पनि छ यस्तो खालको। यो हरेक फोरमहरूमा पनि भनिरहेको हो। यो भन्न थालेको पनि धेरै वर्ष भयो, तर 1 इन्ची तलमाथि चाहिँ भएको छैन। अब यो हुँदैन भने पनि यो भन्न छोड्नु हुन्थ्यो। हुँदैन पनि कहिले नभन्ने, गर्दा पनि कहिले नगर्ने चाहिँ अवस्था छ। अब उद्योगको बिजुलीको त्यस्तै समस्या छ। मेसिन स्टार्ट गर्यो, केही छिनमा चाहिँ झ्याप झ्याप बत्ती जान्छ। एकपल्ट बत्ती गयो भनेदेखि 20-25 किलो जति चाहिँ वेस्टेज जान्छ चाहिँ कच्चा पदार्थहरू। कृषिमा सिँचाइको लागि आकाशीय पानीको भर परेर अहिले पनि हाम्रा चाहिँ खेतीहरू भइरहेका छन्। हामीले चाहिँ समयमा पानी परेन भने हाम्रो कृषि कस्तो हुन्छ भन्ने कुरो हामीलाई नै थाहा छ। अब यो निर्वाहमुखी कृषिलाई हाम्रो प्र्याक्टिसहरू चाहिँ गाउँघरमा निर्वाहमुखी कृषि नै भएको हुनाले त्यसमा चाहिँ कृषि इन्जिनियरिङको चाहिँ एउटा जुन खालको चाहिँ उपस्थिति चाहिँ एग्रिकल्चर इन्डस्ट्रीमा हुनुपर्थ्यो, धेरैभन्दा धेरै वस्तुहरू चाहिँ उत्पादनभन्दा इम्पोर्ट बढी भएको हुनाले एग्रिकल्चर इन्जिनियरहरूको चाहिँ व्यापक प्रयोग चाहिँ नेपालको एग्रिकल्चर इन्डस्ट्रीले चाहिँ गर्न सकेको छैन। त्यसमा चाहिँ अलिकति नीतिगत सुधार भयो भनेदेखि एग्रिकल्चर इन्जिनियर अनि अन्य इन्जिनियरहरूले पनि नेपालको इन्डस्ट्रीमा चाहिँ एउटा राम्रो चाहिँ अवसर हुन्थ्यो। अब रासायनिक मलको लागि कृषकहरू चाहिँ सरकारसँग र अनि सरकार चाहिँ विदेशीसँग जुन एउटा आश गर्ने चाहिँ परम्परा छ त्यसलाई चाहिँ नेपालमा भएको प्राङ्गारिक मल झोल मलहरू इन्जामलाई चाहिँ प्राथमिकता दिए राम्रो हुन्छ। अब यो टाइमको चाहिँ अलिकति अभावले गर्दाखेरि मैले छोट्याउन चाहन्छु र चाहिँ यो स्वदेशी उत्पादनलाई 15% बढी मा पनि खरिद गर्ने भन्ने एउटा व्यवस्था छ। त्यो काहीँ कतै 1% लागू भएको थाहा पनि छैन। त्यो लागू नै नहुने कुराहरू चाहिँ किन के को लागि छ त्यो चाहिँ कि संशोधन हुनु पर्यो कि त्यो राम्रोको लागि हो भने त्यसको चाहिँ लागू गर्ने व्यवस्था गर्नु पर्यो। अब समस्याहरू चाहिँ योभन्दा अरू प्रोग्रामहरूमा पनि धेरै ठाउँमा चाहिँ हामी समस्यामा जुधेर चाहिँ यो काम गरिरहेका छौँ। समस्याहरू चाहिँ लाई मैले चाहिँ बुदागत रूपमा चाहिँ समयको अभावले राख्न सकिनँ। यसको सकारात्मक पक्षहरू चाहिँ विदेशबाट फर्केर आएर स्वदेशमै केही गरौँ भन्ने भावना चाहिँ एउटा विकास भएको छ। देशमा उद्योग भयो भने के हुँदो रहेछ भने नेपाली किसानलाई जस्तो खालको चाहिँ आवश्यक पर्यो त्यस्तै प्रविधि बनाएर दिन मिल्दो रहेछ। मैले पहिला चाहिँ इम्पोर्ट गर्दाखेरि आफूसँग जे छ त्यही बेच्नु पर्थ्यो। अहिले आफूसँग इन्डस्ट्री भइसकेपछि चाहिँ किसानको आवश्यकता अनुसारको सामान बनाएर दिने हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ किसानको उत्पादन लागत घटाउन यसले चाहिँ सहज हुने रहेछ। अनि स्वदेशमै रोजगारीको एउटा प्रशस्त सम्भावना पनि सिर्जना हुने देखियो। अलिकति समय बढी भए पनि मैले आफ्ना कुराहरू चाहिँ राखेँ। यसका लागि धन्यवाद।
Thank you so much, Khosraj sir, for your wonderful presentation. Now, without any delay, I'd like to hand over this platform to our session chair, Ms. Ma'am Sabnam Shivakoti. And the floor is open for question and answer and discussion, and we have allocated around 15 to 20 minutes for it. I request all the participants to keep their question brief and specific and address the speaker you're trying to address. Thank you.
Good afternoon, good evening probably, all the ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to chair this very important session. So as the moderator has announced, so we are opening the floor for discussion. We have 7 presentations, 1 lead presentation, another 6 presentations including 7. So I'd like to open the floor for discussion, although we have almost run out of time in terms of we had started at 4:30. It's almost 6. I was given 1.5 hours of time, but maybe we can adjust a bit. And we don't want to prolong it that I'll be in between the gala dinner and the cultural show maybe. So for the questions. Yes, sir? Can somebody help with the mic?
My query is directed to you, Sabnam ma'am. The reason I'm putting this query is, let me frame my query, and to frame my query, I'll share with you a story, and then a data, okay, and then I'll put my query. The story goes back to 2005. I was working at Institute of Engineering, Dharan campus, and I was asked by the manager of Rizal Tasi food processing industry located in Itahari to help them, develop a system which could be used to handle the pulp which is produced from the industry as waste. Okay. And then it was a wonderful opportunity for us, and I visited that industry for the first time. I started exploring, how this industry is operating. I said, you must be buying tomato to make, tomato ketchup from Lalbandi. He said, no. We bring all the way from China as puree, which is converted to tomato ketchup. Okay, and then I said, at least you must be buying oranges from, adjoining hills to convert it to juice. He said, no, we buy it from Nagpur. And then at least you must be buying, lime lemon to make lemon pickle from adjoining area. He said, no, we buy it from Siliguri. Okay? And then I came down to, chili. I asked, at least you must be buying chili from local market. He said, no, we buy it, we bring it from Bangladesh. Okay? So that's the story our industry carry. Now the reality on the ground is, and you, Dr. Said, you have very rightly pointed, we have become, import-friendly country. Now the data of free fruit import of one market in Kathmandu, Balko fruit market, it goes like this. I made this assessment back in 2014. Okay, average daily transaction of apple in that market is 85 tons. Mango, 75 tons. Orange, 65 tons. Banana, 80 tons. Okay, and bulk of it comes from adjoining country. We bring fruits from all over the world. Avocado that comes to your plate, it comes all the way from Uganda. Okay, despite the reality that we have every climatic niche in this country for year-round vegetable and fruit production. So my query to you is, I was reading success story of an entrepreneur who was doing MBA in one of the reputed from one of the reputed institution in India. After completing the course, he was offered a job. He left the job, came to Patna, and he started vegetable processing unit, okay, wherein farmers would sell the vegetable and this guy would process it and bring it to market. The innovation that he did, he developed the whole chain of marketing, and some of innovations, for example, ठेला गाडामा तरकारी बिक्री गर्नलाई he used cooling pad, okay, to reduce the losses. Sabnam ma'am, we have invested heavily on developing marketplaces, okay, community-based seed collection centers, and these are doing good job. If you go to those centers, right at the source, post-harvest loss begins. Now it really demands, little innovation. For example, putting in place cleaning, grading, and drying facility, okay? At least cleaning and grading. It increases, the value of the product right at the source, and then the profit goes directly to the farmers. So because see, infrastructure is there, everything is there, little machine, and then it starts working. Thank you so much. So my query is, thank you for listening. My query is, sitting at Ministry of Agriculture and in a decision-making position, and I know, you are a humble professional sitting out there, okay? The reality on the ground is that our farmers are not getting due share of that labor, their labor that they are putting, okay? So something, some thinking, what kind of thinking are you making, to make the forward? Because this is the area, post-harvest processing and food engineering, this holds, the hope of agriculture in this country.
Thank you, sir. Maybe thank you for the story and also the question. Maybe I'll respond it after I get the questions from others. Firstly to the presenters, and then while responding to some of the queries, I'll give my probably my take on during that time itself. So maybe I would like to invite questions from other.
Thank you. I am Sandeep Upadhyay. My special thanks to Krishna Sharma sir, Managing Director, SKT Nepal. During his presentation, he has shown that mechanization history, where he has postulated the engineering school established in the presentation, where our father of agriculture engineering, Mr. Ashutosh Shukla, is here, in my opinion. My query, little query like that, during specification made, we have to make estimates of mini-tiller. Generally, as you shown that 95,000 mini-tiller has been gone, sold. Price of mini-tiller, 7 HP mini-tiller price ranges from 22,000 to 95,000. 5 HP mini-tiller Honda brand is around 90,000. And in our, we have to make clarification in your catalog. Please specify why it is so costly. Same power output, why it is costly? This is the question. Thank you.
So what to okay, Dr. Jeet, yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you for all the presenter for your nice presentation. मसँग धेरै क्वेरीजहरु छ, यो टाइम लिमिटेसनले गर्दाखेरि म केही क्वेरीहरु मात्रै राख्न चाहन्छु। जस्तो यो म फर्स्ट प्रेजेन्टरसँग चाहिँ न्यूरल नेटवर्क बारेमा थोरै I would like to know somehow about the neural network from him in laser plate. यो भ्यालु चेनमा मैले हेरेको रिसर्चेबल रिसर्चको डेटाहरु मलाई हेर्दाखेरि खुसी लाग्यो र भ्यालु चेनमा हेर्दाखेरि फार्म गेट र यो मार्केट प्राइस हेर्दाखेरि प्रॉफिट मार्जिन भनेको त्यहाँ चाहिँ 125% मोर देखियो हैन र त्यसमा फेरि एक्स्ट्रा जो लसेस भन्नुहुन्छ 20 केजी त्यो हेर्दाखेरि लगभग 50% जति चाहिँ प्रॉफिट मार्जिन अझै देखियो। यसले गर्दाखेरि हाम्रो फुड ग्रेन्सहरुमा यत्रो मार्जिन हुँदैन र व्हाई इज ओन्ली फर भेजिटेबल्स एन्ड फ्रुट्स हैन यसमा अलिकति पोलिसी लेभलको केही कुराहरु चाहिँ सजेसनहरु चाहिँ यहाँले राख्दिनु होला भन्न चाहन्छु मैले। र त्यसैगरी अर्को भ्यालु चेनमा हामीले चाहिँ भ्यालु चेनको ओल्ड प्र्याक्टिस गरिराखेका छौं। म स्पेशल एग्रोनोमिस्ट हुँ नार्कमा। त्यसले गर्दाखेरि अलिकति यसलाई चाहिँ फराक्युलर दायरामा जस्तो प्रॉफिट फर वान इन्डिभिजुअल एक्टर्स भन्दा पनि कम्बाइन्ड एप्रोचमा प्रॉफिट शेयरिङ एप्रोच प्रॉफिट शेयरिङ विदिन अल एक्टर्समा यस्तो मोडेलहरु लाग्न सकिन्छ कि सकिन्न भन्ने एउटा एक किसिमको थट डेभलप गर्ने हो कि र त्यस किसिमको पनि यहाँहरुले चाहिँ एउटा पोलिसी अथवा वे फरवर्ड दिन सक्नुहुन्छ कि भन्ने चाहिँ मैले आश गरे। र अर्को यो भ्यालु यो पोस्ट हार्भेस्ट लसेस भनेको हामीले 2025 भनेर यो हामी पढ्दादेखि नै शुक्ला सरको म पनि चेला हो हैन त्यतिखेर देखिको अहिलेसम्म यही प्याटर्न आइराखेको छ र मैले अहिलेसम्म जान्न चाहेको इज दिस फिजिकल लसेस और फिजियोलोजिकल लसेस और इज इट मोइस्चर लसेस हैन किनकि यसलाई ओभरकम गर्नको लागि यसलाई टेक्नोलोजी डेभलप गर्नको लागि यसको दुईटा छुट्टै प्र्याक्टिसहरु आवश्यकता पर्छ हैन यसको लागि चाहिँ यहाँहरुले पनि त्यो कुरालाई पनि अलिकति आफ्नो पेपरमा अथवा फरवर्डमा चाहिँ राख्दिनु होला। र त्यसैगरी अर्को प्रेजेन्टेसनमा यो मेसिन हामी चाहिँ अब नार्कले सीड प्रोडक्सनको धेरै काम गर्नुपर्ने भएको हुँदाखेरि हामीलाई पनि मेसिनरी युज गर्नुपर्ने बाध्यता छ र यो प्र्याक्टिस पनि अहिलेको त्यही छ र यसमा चाहिँ हामीलाई चाहिँ सीड अब मलाई अलिकति अप्ठ्यारो लाग्यो जर्मिनेसन चाहिँ धेरै लो देखियो होइन र यो जर्मिनेसन लो हुनुको कारण पनि मैले यहाँ चाहिँ यो फिजिकल ड्यामेज भएर हो कि अथवा फिजियोलोजिकल ड्यामेज भएर हो कि होइन यसमा कुन कारण हो त्यो पनि अलिकति क्लियर भइदिएपछि मलाई हामीलाई सहज हुन्थ्यो भन्ने लाग्छ र अर्को कुरा यो NAMEA-मा यो भिजन मिसन भनेको तलको माथिको तल छ कि यसो मैले सर्टकटमा हेरेँ होइन आई विल सी अगेन यदि मिल्यो भने त्यसलाई अलिकति के गर्नुपर्छ कि भन्ने छ र म चाहिँ खोजराज कटोवाललाई चाहिँ सरको त्यसमा चाहिँ म एग्री छु र त्यो चाहिँ पोलिसी लेभलमा चाहिँ हामीले चाहिँ हिट गर्नै पर्छ त्यो चाहिँ अति इम्पोर्टेन्ट छ नेप्लिज कन्टेस्टमा थ्याङ्क यू
Okay, thank you. So now I'll take one more question and then I'll go to the response first. Okay. Any over, sir? If not, then I'll ask you if you would.
Very short and sweet questions to our Dr. Syed Ismail. As we learned from your professor from America last time, and I highly motivated from his saying that there are two clients of agricultural engineers. One is farmers and another is industry. So in Nepal also now we are trying to motivate and attract our youngsters, our younger engineers towards industrialization and business. But we are not becoming successful. We have seen in India many agricultural engineers, mechanical engineers, they go to industry and business. But here we are trying but not getting so much interested agricultural engineers. For example, when Khojraj Katwal request us to send one agricultural engineer for his industry, no one is interested to join industry. So we are just asking from our society and from government of Nepal that how we can attract, how we can motivate younger agricultural engineers to business and industry. What is the key thing?
The main thing is
Okay, so Dr.
we teach
Syed,
one line.
yes,
I will
sir.
tell one line.
So you have got two questions, so please respond both
Okay.
of them together.
Okay. I think we want obedience from students. We want the boss, whatever says, to accept it right. That should change. That is a problem. Industry doesn't do that. Industry allows whoever has knowledge to come up. So this is the biggest problem. The university professors, why they can't make a guy to work in a university. For example, today I observed, she requested so long, 8 minutes only talk. You know it before you took the mic in your hand, 8 minutes. Still you always try to extend more because I am great, I want some of the time. This is the real core issue. We have to change it. This is my reply to you. It has been done already some of the places in India, other elsewhere. In US, you cannot talk. They'll cut off. We started practicing in AAA. We cut off the phone exactly 8 minutes or 10 minutes. Over. We don't care about what the person thinks. We have to respect others. We will teach that to students. Let them speak. Ask them, you tell them, promote them here to go to business. The reason you asked is, India, the professors get 2.5 rupees salary, 2.5 lakhs per month, okay, real professors. Farmers get around 2,500 rupees per acre per month. That is a professor equivalent to a 100-acre zamindar. Just imagine that. Before it was salaries were poor, now it is very high. So people look for earning more money. This is the first reason. You have to make very clearly that serving is important. You have to change, okay? You bring the industry people to teach. It will come very well. Next question asked, somebody told me about, he want to, for artificial intelligence, it's very difficult to explain in one line, but I will try. It's very simple. If I ask, I'm going to invite some Punjabi friend, one Madrasi to my house for a dinner, to my wife. So how she finds out what food to cook, what type of entertainment they require, that is your neural network, okay? Very simple. When I put NPK, so much percentage, this is the yield comes out. So I want to find out exactly how I put. Same way, food habits you put. So this is very simple neural network. We can discuss separately some other time. Thank you. Both the questions.
Maybe during the dinner you can explore more on neural network. So now the second question was to Rajiv Neopani from Kisan Care about the value chain. Yes, please.
Okay, thank you for the question. The question was why vegetable, why use loss in vegetable. I think vegetable is the most perishable goods. and the fragmented farming lands, lack of demand-based production approach. I think it's the major thing. And obviously the policy level, there is the policy level gap also. Similarly, another question was, is it the physical loss or physiological loss? It was not the core research we have done. We have one consultancy project. It was a survey, and mostly it was like physical intervention we have did. Okay, thank you.
One question to Namia, colleague, yeah. About.
Thank you. Thank you for the questions. The major question is what is the price variation? Why is the price variation in same horsepower in different brand? I would like to clarify that most of it's the brand value. Like Honda is almost is the global brand, and like a Kisan Craft, like Honda, Yamaha, like Enmars. These are the very premium products produced by this manufacturer, and the price is quite high as compared to local made in Chinese products. The main things is quality, because I am in the same field last 2 decades, because I am importing same tillers last 20 years. In my experience in this field, the main cause is brand value. The second one is quality. The third one is the country of origin. Where is it is made, like Japan, China, Thailand, and as well as India. Obviously, made in Chinese local brand are very cheaper on the same horsepower. There is some difference inside the parts. The parts quality is different, so the price is different. And the another thing is that we have a lack in our Nepal. There is no testing centers have been started. So I would like to request all engineers are here. I would like to NSAU, all the government officials, we should start a testing center as soon as possible for this kind of machines. And this is the global practices, because I have already visited some like India, Thailand, Turkey, China. I have seen same patterns in the global situation, because I visited last month in India. There is the same horsepower in IMA Delhi. There is the BCS brand. The price is more than 1 lakh INR. Same machines. There is another Chinese one is 20,000 is around. So this is not a Nepal problem. This is a global problem. It's depend on quality and brand values. Thank you. I think I'm clear about that. Thank you very much.
Okay, if you need further deeper information, maybe we can discuss afterwards. And last question, I think one was for the presenter from NARC about the question was about the reasons for this in terms of the seed quality, low germination. So what was the reason for the low germination? Was it? Yes, please.
It was mainly the physical damage. We observed that. Also, variation. त्यो चाहिँ स्टडी गरेनौँ त्यसमा, तर त्यसमा चाहिँ फरक पर्छ. हाम्रो चाहिँ 20 to 25%. It was 20 to 25% moisture content. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so one last question, because I have been informed by the organizers to conclude this one. But yes, please, over to you, sir. Okay.
The whole community here, how to convert farmers into agri-entrepreneurs, how to convert agri-engineers into agro-industrialists. That's my question to all, everybody.
Thank you so much. I was assuming that since this is the last session, so you all must be tired already, and there will not be many questions. But I see there are still some hands, but because of the
you got my point.
I'll be closing the.
Because I mean, if all the farmers turn into agro-entrepreneurs, many problems will be solved. And the scope of agricultural engineers, it is so huge, we get lost. So there is some cut-off point, because they have to work with the agronomists, we have to work with the horticulturists, we have to work with the mechanical engineers, chemical engineers, civil engineers. So there has to be some cut-off point, and we have to say, yeah, this is the cut-off point, and you cannot go beyond. Just udaharanko lagi, now, production, we talk so much about production. Then processing, then probably agro-industry, then probably food industry. So what is the end? How to make the, and we are making agricultural engineers accessible for any time. This is something I don't agree.
Thank you for that remarks, the last minute remarks. I think I'll be now just giving some of my observations and also response to the concerns raised by Shukla sir. Well, from the session, it was about post-harvest processing and food engineering, particularly post-harvest and agri-entrepreneurship was the theme. And so there were excellent 7 presentations. I'll just quickly sum up on what was the key message that each presenter gave to the lead presenter, Dr. Said. I think I like the phrase he mentioned about professors in practice. You know, many of us agri-engineers, I'm not agri-engineer, but many of the agri-engineers were mostly looking for the job rather than he was asking to create a job yourself, you know, by engaging in that part. And also he emphasized on the importance of innovation, because when we're talking about the post-harvest losses, there is losses at every chain, right? And it starts right from the harvesting, how you harvest the product and until when you consume. So there is many intervention point, many nodal point where the losses takes place. So how to minimize this is through the use of the innovation. And so in that respect, he also mentioned about importance of innovation and interventions as well. So I particularly liked about and emphasized on some of the precision and agriculture, technology and processing, and also he touched upon how the engineers can really be into the business. So that was quite intriguing. And then there was another presentation on the vegetable value chain. So although the presentation was representing a small part of the Koshi Pradesh, but I think the results showed, his results has clearly demonstrated that there's a lot of losses at every chain, right from the producer up to the consumer. There's a loss at every chain, and how this loss creates the difference in the price margin between the farmers and the retailers. Probably there's a huge margin because of those losses. And he also mentioned about the cost for nothing, but I think it's not really the cost of nothing, because unless the harvested product is properly graded, properly sorted as indicated by Dr. Shukla, and then it reaches the market, I think there will be losses. So definitely each entrepreneur, each intersection will allocate some cost for those apprehended losses. So in that sense, it's not really a cost for nothing, but then how we can improve is right from the production, right from the harvesting up to the consumption point, how we can intervene at each level through the use of the infrastructures, through the technology, and linking to the market. I think this can be minimized, and then the profit margin between the farm and then consumer, that can be really minimized. So that was the key message I could get it from. And another presentation was from Manoj Joshi, Dr. Manoj Joshi from NARC. And it was very interesting for me to indicate that how a technology can really help reduce the cost, reduce the labor, and reduce the time. But at the same time, if there is a trade-off, then it's really for the farmers to think upon whether to adopt that technology or not. I think in that sense, when we're talking about the seed, use of the combine harvester for the seed, probably it is not feasible, but maybe for the consumption, we can use this technology so that even the germination is not an issue there. So how this trade-off can really be minimized through the improvisation in the technology itself, and through the use of the technology in the different aspects. So that was the key message. And also Dr. Roji Joshi mentioned about the environmental ecology, ecosystem at the local level. This is very critical when we talk about the entrepreneurship, whether it is for the agri-entrepreneurship or for any other entrepreneurship. This is very important to look at the local level, strengthening at the local level. And we had a presentation from IDE on the use of this TVC, the Trichoderma vermicompost, and then how the cooperatives can build on the business and how it can sustain with the partnership with the local government. So that was the key message that I could receive. And two presenters were from the agri-engineering side. One was from the NAMIA. He talked about what are the major development in the agricultural mechanization in the country and what are the challenges remains. And similarly, Mr. Khojraj Katuwal, he shared about the challenges with the industries, especially the agri-mechanical industries or the agri-technology industries. What are the challenges and what are and he mentioned about the areas of interventions that is needed from the policy and all that. I think so. From all these presentations from the different on different themes, I think that we could get a clear message about that. This post-harvest loss is very critical because this is a very big challenges for our country. And about the statistics also, whether 20 to 35%. I think I was working in the post-harvest management director earlier, some 5-6 years back. Although after this federalism, this organization has been dismissed, and the post-harvest the rule, the study and other roles has been now limited to the other different sectoral centers, be it the horticulture centers or the crop centers. But there's no dedicated institute to expand those technologies to the farmers. That is one area that we need to do. And also about the research and what is the actual losses in the research, because there has been improvement. If you look at the tomato study from the tomato, loss of the post-harvest in tomato, maybe 15-20 years back, it was as high as 50-60%. But now most of the tomatoes are now transported in the crate. It's a simple technology, but there's a lot of improvement in minimizing the losses. So, so the scenario is different for the different crops, and the recent study it needs to be done for the various crops as well. Updated study is also required. And when we talk about the post-harvest loss again, one is that the cost of cultivation, although it minimizes, one is the challenge is that there is a loss, post-harvest loss, but at the same time there is increasing cost of cultivation also, that is really challenging. There is increasing workload for the women, that is also increasing with the agriculture. So how we can minimize those challenges is through the innovation, through the use of technology. That is one thing that has clearly stood out. And in terms of the, another is about the awareness among the farmers and the entrepreneurs also, among the actors in the value chain, because unless you realize that there is, because of your intervention, there is a minimization of the post-harvest loss, and that will ultimately be converted to the income, and they will not be willing to adopt those technologies. Because I remember we had done one study where the cauliflower was transported from one of the villages in Dhading to Kathmandu, not very far, good road, but still there was a huge loss in the sense that most of the leaves were transported to Kathmandu in the Kalimati wholesale market, and those were dumped there. So if we could, as rightly pointed out by Dr. Shukla, that if we had intervened at the collection center itself and reduced most of those leaves at that place itself, taken out those leaves and then did the grading, all those leaves will not be transporting, the cost for the transport of the leaves is also added to the cauliflower price. So that means that is where the intervention is needed. Awareness at each level of the node is very much required. And another thing I think that's not much discussed here about is the affordability of the technology, because we may have the technology. One is about it should reach to the farmers, it should reach to the entrepreneurs, but at the same time it should be easily available. It should be accessible in the remote part of the country as well, and also that it should be if affordable. So when we are talking about the affordable, there's some of the presentation also mentioned about linking it to the market, access to the market, access to the finance. So how we can bring the finance in the picture, but also make it affordable. So the Nepal government has been promoting through the subsidy mechanisms on introducing the innovations, and for the adoption of those innovations. So through various programs, and this is so that this technology is affordable to the farmers, and also some of the enabling policy like the tax, custom duty, waiver of the custom duty, so that these equipment, these machineries are cheaper for the farmers to adopt. So these are some of the interventions that government is already doing. And another thing that has come out strongly about is the human resources. But yes, that is a very dearth of human resources. Our universities are producing the agro-engineers, but how those agro-engineers are really using their knowledge and skills to develop the agriculture sector in terms of the bringing technology and then also linking with the processing. Perhaps to your question, sir, maybe when we're talking about where to scope, the role of the probably agri-engineers, where to limit it, I think let's not limit it because there's a range of the technology needed at different frontiers. So when we can impart those knowledges to link the production with the industries, I think that is well and good. And to Dr. Sukla's concerns about, he shared about why is it that we're not able to help the farmers. I think his questions were definitely concerned with the two things that I took up. One is about why the industries are not really taking the production from the farmers. I think there's a multiple factors that we have also tried to link. One is about because we have a fragmented farmers, smallholder farmers, and then fragmented production. So sometimes for the industries, it is easier if you are able to acquire them in the bulk. So through our various projects and programs, what we are trying to do is we have the aggregation of the farmers, and they bring their produce to the certain buyers. So linking those producers with the buyers so that there is a bulk of those product coming to the industries. I think that is one that we are trying to do. Just to give an example, the province government in Gandaki Pradesh, so they are trying to link the farmers with the industry, potato, French fries industries. So farmers grow the kind of the variety that the industry needs, and then they have kind of a buyback agreement. So that way they can bring those products into the market, into the industry. So that is one area that we are really also looking into. And then second is about the you mentioned about the in those marketplaces. Why don't we invest in the other sorting, grading practices itself, so that that we can improve those things in the agriculture market. I think in that area also, initially I think our government focus was on developing the infrastructure, mostly the market in many places. That was the prior importance of the government. But now even we have realized that just the infrastructure is not alone, whether those infrastructures are equipped with the cold storage facilities within the marketplaces, and also some grading facility, the grading and washing or other kind of post-harvest handling operations are done in the market. But what we have to be also looked into is that normally, rather than having those facilities in the market, in those collection centers and other collection point also, if we can have those intervention in the collection itself, I think that is what you are also indicating to. And I think that is where government is intervening, not from the federal government as of now, but mostly from the local government and the provincial government. Now they are also looking into where we can intervene and we can add value to it. We can minimize the losses in the source itself before it is brought to the market. So there has been efforts, but definitely it's not adequate. I think we need a joint kind of cooperation among the various actors. Now, without further taking it further, I think this session has really given us a broader understanding on how we can really help with the innovation, help with the technology in bringing the production efficiently to the market, how we can efficiently produce, how we can efficiently harvest, and we can efficiently bring it to the market to cut down the cost, to reduce the time, and then also to reduce the drudgery of some of the works. I think with that key messages, I would like to pick one last point from Dr. Syed again, that there's a lot of opportunities because we are growing, agriculture sector is growing, and there's a lot of opportunities of having digital intervention, precision agriculture, and whatnot. So in that respect, we need many we are hoping that many of the agri-engineers in the room today, they are also engaged in the agri-business. I think that should be the key message. With that, I would like to thank you, the organizers, for giving me this opportunity. And I was pleased to be here. With that, I conclude this session. Thank you so much. And request all of you to give a round of applause to our presenters, and also to our note-taking. We have one gentleman and one lady here taking the note of all of your points. So we'd like to thank also Vasudev sir and madam. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sobnam ma'am, for your wonderful remarks, and thank you to all our respected speakers for their valuable presentation, and to our participants for engaging in very good discussion. Now we'd like to move forward with a token of love distribution, and for that I would like to request Department Deputy General, Department of Water Resource and Irrigation, Mr. Vasudev, to handle over the token of love. Alongside him, I'd like to request Engineer Rabindra Karki, Program Manager at IDE Nepal, to hand over the token of love. For this segment, I'd like to request our lead speaker, Dr. Engineer Syed Ismail, Our technical presentation, Rajiv Neopane, Engineer Manoj Joshi from NARC, Dr. Roji Joshi, Lalit Sasar, Mr. Krishna Sharma, and Mr. Khoj Raj Kotwal. Along with our technical presentation, I'd like to request our session chair, Mr. Sabnam Shivakoti ma'am, and our keynote takers, Basudev Lohani sir and Sandhya Sarma ma'am, to join them. I'd like to request our session chair, Sabnam ma'am, along with keynote takers, Basudev Lohani sir and Sandhya Sharma ma'am. Thank you so much. May we have a group picture? Thank you so much. Once again, thank you so much to our session chair, keynote takers, and speakers. This session has clearly highlighted that agriculture does not end at harvest. Rather, it continues through value addition, innovation, and entrepreneurship. It was a pleasure being your MC for this session. Thank you for cooperation, attention, and active participation.